Living in Russia is like living in a big and very inefficient meat factory, where you are the meat and the only question is how and when you will be processed, and whether it will be a quick, slow, painful or an enjoyable experience. Here is the story of recent business opportunity that is gaining traction within the shadier contingent. Because of Russia's special military operation, the graveyards are booming with bodies, and each burial represents an opportunity to make money. As such, Russia has seen a sharp rise in so-called cemetery mafias, criminal gangs who have taken over cemeteries to bury people with inflated prices and fleece their relatives out of as much money as they can. And it's an offer that you can't really refuse, as your car or house might catch a fire and your dead relative ends up in a garbage dump. A criminal gang led by Moldovan native Roman Igizli is reported to have taken over the cemeteries in the Leningrad region, using bribery, threats and violence against competitors. In September 2024, they were reported to even have seized control of a district hospital. In Russia, municipalities own public cemeteries. However, the law requires them to either establish specialized burial service or assign these responsibilities to a business selected through a competitive process. The so-called cemetery mafia has exploited this system using bribery and violence to take control of cemeteries. Since 2017, Igizli's gang has reportedly extended his influence throughout the Leningrad region. According to the sources, homes of those who have attempted to resist were set on fire at night, and competitors were attacked during burial ceremonies in cemeteries. In 2020, the gang took control of cemeteries in the Lomonosov region, using baseball bats and other weapons, partially seized cemeteries also in Petrodvorets and Kronstadt in St. Petersburg. The police have largely turned a blind eye, almost certainly due to substantial bribes. The takeover has been marked by frequent violence against business rivals and funeral workers. For example, in Slantsy, a saleswoman was locked inside a funeral home pavilion that was then set on fire. Another funeral home was burned down on the grounds of Lomonosov Hospital. In the Vsevolozhsk region, gunfight erupted between rival funeral companies during a burial service. Alongside opening fire, they used a coffin containing a deceased woman as a battering ram. A cemetery worker who was badly beaten later recounted to the media that he had been approached by three men in tracksuits. They told him that cemeteries in Vartemyagi and Nizhny Ozelki were under their control and that he would no longer be allowed to work there. If he refused, they threatened to break his legs and even kill him. Igizli's gang is just one of several criminal outfits in the regional cemetery mafia. They work closely with local hospitals and morgues to identify the recently or imminently deceased, with their own insiders, including Igizli's girlfriend, employed as hospital registrars. These registrars have access to personal files of patients, can assess their condition, select hopeless ones on the verge of death, and be the first to get access to relatives' contacts to direct bodies to their company called IRI, profiting from the preparation and sale of funeral accessories. At district cemeteries, gang members like Igizli continue fleecing grieving families, selling what should be free services for tens or even hundreds of thousands of rubles. In October 2023, residents of Verkhnaya Kolonia in the Lomonosov district voiced complaints to their representatives about exorbitant fees being charged for supposedly free burial plots at a cemetery managed by Igizli's funeral company, IRI. Similar grievances were surfaced in other areas. The cemetery mafia is notorious for harshly intimidating relatives of the deceased who refuse to pay their inflated fees. In the village of Lebyazhe, they attempted to halt a grave being dug, even threatening to bury the coffin in a garbage dump. Reportedly, only the intervention of a large number of deceased relatives prevented them from disturbing the funeral. However, the gang implied that it would be unwise to place a monument on the grave, suggesting something might happen to it. In other instances, funeral gangsters have held bodies hostage, refusing to release them without payment of last-minute charges. They have also operated illegal morgues to avoid fees, using ice cream freezers to store bodies in Samara and pouring drained blood onto the streets. Unsurprisingly, the cemetery mafia has shown little respect for the deceased in their care. Relatives have reported being given the wrong person to bury, and dozens of frozen bodies were found stuffed in a refrigerated container outside the hospital in Toksova. This same hospital near St. Petersburg was taken over by Izikli's gang in September 2024. Witnesses reported up to 20 armed men with knives, batons, pistols, and other weapons have seized the premises, threatening medical staff and obstructing the release of bodies from the morgue. According to witnesses, the funeral service's shop door is held open by a van, while armed, bearded militants regularly dine in the hospital cafeteria, intimidating elderly patients and their families. The takeover seems to have occurred with the consent of hospital's director. Outraged hospital employees have covertly photographed gang to bring attention to the situation, yet authorities, likely bribed, have taken no action. And as the special military operation continues, there is always an ample supply of new bodies that need to be buried. And a luxurious business opportunity like that is not wasted in Russia.